English translation first contact Tuesday, 28th of January, 1975, 1434 Char's first conversation, introductory conversation, literal reproduction, as far as remembered.
You are a fearless human being.
I have unlearned the anxiety and have become objective.
I know, as we have been studying you for years.
Very nice. And why?
Because we would like to clarify some things through you.
Is not someone else suitable for that?
Certainly. But we have kept an eye on you, because you have been preoccupied with these problems in other personalities for many thousands of years, and because you think and act in a real and honest way, and because you have already often carried out such a mission in your former lives, even though great mysteries surround this for us.
Thanks for the flowers. Who?
No need to, because they are your own merit.
Fine, but who are you really?
You can just call me you, like I do too.
Thanks, but now who are you?
I am called Simyase, and I come from the Plejades. So.
From the 7 stars?
Certainly.
Nice trip, if I may say so. How do you accomplish that? Maybe through the hyperspace?
You often know more than we would like you to know.
Why? After all, I am discreet and not a chatterbox.
I know that, and that is why your knowledge is in the right place. Therefore, I and everyone else are not worried.
Why did you block my way to your ship? Was it because of the film in my camera? Would it have been destroyed?
Of course, because you should at least have photo evidence.
I see, so I am supposed to go public. But how am I supposed to arrange that?
You shall, and I will explain the way to you later.
Well then, is it not a little dangerous to leave your ship landed on the ground so openly when other human beings might pass by?
Do not worry, because it is ensured that no human being can get closer than within a radius of 500 meters. For, moreover, the beam ship is protected by the forest and the hills against sight from afar.
Then I, as a human being, should be the only one involved in this meeting?
Yes, and you know why.
I understand, unfortunately.
Even if you regret it, there is nothing that can be changed about it, not even in the future.
I already understand, my dear fellow human beings.
Sure, their consciousness-based cognitions rest in wrong paths. But you have made the effort and have learned. You have found the truth in other personalities already many thousands and even millions of years ago and have acquired the knowledge. That is why you stand out from the great mass of human beings on the earth, and that is why we have turned to you.
You always say we. Does that mean that?
Certainly. I told you before you often know more than we would like. Please keep quiet about it, because the truth as it is already hard enough for the human beings.
I have never possessed this knowledge, and consequently, I also cannot say anything.
You can also put it that way, and I know that you will keep quiet. I know that if you were forced to speak, you would even deny everything and the whole event and would portray it as fantasy.
You really know me very well.
Therefore, and for many other reasons and because of determination, we have actually chosen you. But now enough of the questions and answers. Listen to me now carefully what I have to say to you. Write everything down and then tell it to the public, but differently than you did in the exercise of your mission in previous lives.
How am I supposed to do that? Because I have nothing here to write with. I also do not have a tape recorder or something similar.
Do not worry, because you can write it down later. First, I will explain everything to you, so that you have an overview. On the other hand, later it will be easier for me to get in touch with you and transmit the thoughts to you, after which you will be able to write down everything word for word.
With this, are you thinking of the same form by which you also brought me here?
You are really very knowing and do us all honor.
Thanks.
All right then. So listen now and only interrupt me if you really do not understand something.
Simya say his explanations.
Already for a long time, we have felt the urge to get in touch with a human being on the earth who wants to be helpful in honesty and very real to our task. This attempt has already been made very often, but the chosen human beings were not knowing and willing enough, and there was often also a lack of honesty and loyalty. Those whom we could have engaged in our efforts, however, were afraid and remained silent about our appearance. They claimed that they would be insulted for spirit illness and that attempts would be made through official and foolish human intrigues to destroy them and accuse them of lying. Instead, however, very many human beings seeking renown appeared who claimed to have contact with us and even to have flown in our beam ships. But they are nothing other than charlatans and deceivers who want to bask in dubious glory and capitalize on it. The Earth humans have entire organizations that deal with reconnaissance of our beam ships, but among them all, there is only very little material that is really genuine. They are in possession of very many photos which, however, depict nothing more than some lights and light phenomena of natural origin or quite deliberate counterfeits. Only very few of these photographic proofs are genuine and really show our beam ships. Most of the photos are just montages or forged recordings made by deceivers and charlatans, whose names thereby became known worldwide. Their books and their writings written in this way represent also only an evil fraud for the purpose of seeking renown or charlatanry. On the other hand, however, many dare to associate us with the human religion, with which we have nothing to do and also never want anything to do. Your so-called sectarians do not even shy away from this step and are themselves deceiving their fellow human beings with the belief. These infamous and tentatively primitive machinations should be stopped before the world is completely gripped by them. If the deceivers and charlatans were actually linked to us and, thus, were standing or have stood in contact with us, then we would have given them the opportunity to create very clear photo evidence of our beam ships. But since they are dishonest human beings, we have not given them this opportunity. As proof for this fact, we gave you the opportunity to take clear pictures of one of our beam ships. But we will also continue to give you such opportunities to create even better and clearer picture evidence. The Earth human calls us extraterrestrials or star people or whatever he or she likes. He or she imputes supernaturality to us and does not know us in the least. In reality, we are human beings just like the Earth humans, except that our knowledge and our essence of wisdom are far superior to theirs, so also from a technological point of view. It is true that the Earth human has taken the first, very small step towards outer space flight, but that means nothing more than the first rather primitive attempts. Even though he or she has reached the moon with rockets, he or she still has not reached the outer space yet. He or she would also never reach it in the present form. What is needed for this is a propulsion system capable of penetrating hyperspace and causing the unending distances to collapse. Space and time are not overcome by space and time, but by the spaceless and the timeless, which means that space and time collapse in themselves and become equally directed to null time. As a result, a few fractions of a second can suffice to rush through millions of light years, practically without a loss of time, because null time paralyzes space and time. Many deceivers and charlatans claim that they would be in contact with planetary human beings of your solar system, and that they have even flown with or in their beam ships. That is nothing more than a lie, as for the most part, the stars mentioned by them and their planets are so inhospitable that human life would be impossible. Other planets, on the other hand, have long since died out of life, or they are only in the developmental stages. Other solar systems, however, harbor a variety of lives, not just human ones. The forms of life are diverse, human as well as animal. Also, many animal or even plant life forms have developed to highly advanced level of life. So there are species who have attained great knowledge and have freed themselves from their spheres of life, who travel outer space and also come to your Earth every now and then. Many of them, however, are unpleasant contemporaries and live in a certain barbarism which is often almost as bad as that of the Earth human. One must watch out for them because they often combat and destroy everything that gets in their way. Already often they have destroyed entire planets or forced their inhabitants into barbaric slavery. This is one of our tasks, to warn the Earth human about these creatures. Let the human beings know this, because more and more the time approaches when a clash with these degenerate human creatures becomes unavoidable. Another task is aimed at the sects and religions and the underdevelopment of human consciousness associated with these. Above all, there is only one thing that possesses the power over life and death of every creature. This is the creation alone, who has laid out her laws over everything, laws that are irrefutable and that have eternal validity. The human being can recognize them in nature, if he or she strives for it. They show him or her the path of life and the path to the spiritual and consciousness-based greatness, which represent the life determination. But as the human being indulges in his or her religions and thus in evil, irrational teachings, his or her consciousness atrophies more and leads ultimately to a bottomless abyss. The human being may realize that a God can never assume the role of the creation or determine the destiny of the human being. A God is only a ruler and, moreover, a human being who mightily exercises rule or tyranny over his fellow human beings. God is not the creation, but only a creature of her, like all creatures dependent on the creation. However, the human being chases after his or her religious irrational belief and claims that God is the creation herself. But he or she goes even further and claims that an ordinary earth human named Emmanuel, who through deliberate error is also called Jesus Christ, would be the Son of God and would be the creation herself. Different sectarians of the new time go even further and claim things that already come close to insanity. But as already mentioned, beamship deceivers and charlatans are also heading in the same direction. Quite clearly they put out the lie to the world that we, or our brothers and sisters from other parts of the outer space, would come here by order of God, by which they mean the creation, as angels or the like, in order to bring the earth humans the long-desired peace and the truth of religion and the protection and commands of God. This is nothing more than a well-thought-out lie of sectarians and deceivers or charlatans. Because we have never acted by such orders, and we will also never do so. The creation herself never gives commands because she embodies the mightiest in this universe and never needs commands or religions. Religion is only a primitive machination of human beings intended for the purpose of leading, subjugating, and exploiting, to which only life that is weak in consciousness is able to succumb. Bring this truth to the light of the world and make it known to the human beings. This is another part of our task. If this does not happen, then humankind will slowly destroy itself and fall into complete darkness of consciousness. 8. We know that you have cognizance of a secret old writing, whose originals were unfortunately destroyed because of the carelessness of our entrusted one, who was your friend, and unfortunately failed in anxiety. Spread the translation of this writing, for it is the only one that is genuine in truth and contains no lie. And as we know, you are also writing a book about this writing and about the real truth. An open word, Billy Edward Albert Meier, Wasser Manzeit Variag. Nam Amoin Nam. It seems to us to be the most important book ever written by a human being of your earth, even though it is harsh in its language and will be met with hatred. but it finally brings the truth to the Earth humans, even if there is still some speculation in it. But it is finally able to destroy the insanity of religion in many, or at least to make many very thoughtful. It is an extraordinarily good piece of work, and you need to make it accessible to the human beings. For now, I have communicated everything necessary, but with that it cannot be enough. Many more contacts will follow this first one, and I will call you at a given point in time. Yet by way of thought transmission, which you call telepathy, I will get in contact with you and transmit more things to you. Do not fear that I will do this at an inappropriate time, but rather only when it suits you. I appreciate your manner and also your desire for independence, so I will always adjust myself to you. The time will come for you, when we will meet in my beamship, and when you will then also be able to undertake flights into outer space with me. But for the time being, this is not yet possible, because it is not advisable due to certain circumstances of regrettable incidents. But I will inform you about that in detail at a later point in time. So farewell until next time, when I will transmit further important information to you. But mainly the conversation should no longer be as one-sided like today, when I only had to give you explanations. From now on, every conversation should run quite normally, as is usual, with questions and answers. Till we meet again, and see you soon.